Hi, hello, and welcome to my channel. If you're already a subscriber, welcome back. Today's video is something a little bit different, okay? So we are talking about a happiness toolkit that I'm going to help you create for yourself. This is not just for when things get bad, this is also for an everyday use. So you've got things that you can use to maintain your happiness, but you've also got things to use when life gets really overwhelming, and I've been there before. I have hit rock bottom and not known how to dig myself out of it. It feels very difficult when you're in it because you don't know if you're going to get out, let alone how to get out. If you're there right now, I totally can empathize with how you feel, and I hope that this can help you even just a little bit begin your journey to happiness, because that is such an important factor of life. If we're not happy, we are just surviving, we're not living. And I want you to live, I want you to be happy. That's why I am doing this video today, because I'm hoping that the toolkit that I have can help at least one of you out there. I have tried a lot of different methods, and these are some of the methods that work for me on a deep level and genuinely provide me with the calmness and sanctity to create happiness in my life. I have got 6 different tools and ways for you to be able to implement this into your life, so hopefully at least one of them works for you. Just as a disclaimer, these aren't quick fixes, they are real tools for real struggles. You can use them every day in a light-hearted way, or you can use them on a more deeper level, which I will go through later on in the video. But don't expect yourself to have changed just like this tomorrow morning, because it doesn't work like that. You have to practice things in order for them to become your norm. So grab your cup of tea or whatever it is that you need to get through this video, get your notepad, get a pen, write things down, and we will get there. I promise you. By the way, this is shortbread tea from Marks and Spencer's, and if you don't know, get to know. It was in my recommendations video for April and it just hits every time. It's a bit hot. Okay, so before I get into the toolkit and the 6 tools that I'm going to provide you with, I just want to talk about why we get overwhelmed first. So when we get overwhelmed, our body becomes stressed, and when we become stressed, our body goes into fight or flight mode. So if you don't know what fight or flight mode is, it is a survival mode basically that is programmed into us from back in the kind of caveman days when we actually needed it, because we were very much in that predator-prey environment. That was the word I was looking for. Predator-prey environment, and we had to use it to survive. So if we were being attacked, we would go into fight or flight mode, and we would decide, are we gonna stand here right now and fight, or are we gonna run? Like that's the flight mode. And the adrenaline was what helped us to decide that. You know, it made us sweat, it makes your heart beat faster. You might freeze in a situation. There are so many different physiological responses when you're in fight or flight mode. And so we don't necessarily need that anymore, maybe in extreme situations, but that's like 1-2% of the time that we'll get into that situation nowadays. We don't actually need that anymore, but our bodies still go into fight or flight mode when we're stressed. And that makes us feel a lot worse. So it's that cycle of, I'm stressed, I'm going into fight or flight mode, and then that's going to stress me out, and I'm going to continue staying in fight or flight mode, and it's a vicious cycle. And what we want to do is break that cycle, because so long as you're in that, you won't be functioning in your usual way. It is very scary, and it's not a nice feeling. When I personally hit my rock bottom, I was in a vicious cycle of fight or flight mode, and I couldn't turn it off, and it was making me act in ways that I wouldn't usually act like. And it was a vicious cycle of negative physiological response, which then caused negative mental responses from myself. And it just wasn't me, it wasn't who I was, and I didn't feel like myself. And if you feel like this and you're going through this, I just want you to know that you're not broken. It is completely normal to go through this and to feel this, but that's why I'm hoping that at least one of these tools can help you out. The first method in my toolkit is perspective shifting. So this might not work for you in the situation that you're in, it totally depends what you're going through, but I find this really helps me when I'm finding it difficult to empathize with someone, or if I feel really angry about something, or if I don't understand something. So what this is about is challenging your assumptions and challenging your thoughts. So look at different viewpoints in order to perceive how someone else might view something, or how it might look from a different point of view. The first way that you're going to do this is question your beliefs. Are your beliefs based on facts, or are they based on assumptions? And if they're based on assumptions, it's very likely that it's not accurate, because you've assumed it, you don't know if it's the truth or not, and it's worth finding out the facts in the situation. And I'm going to give the situation of a relationship. It's very easy in a relationship to assume what the other person's thinking or what the other person has gone through, but until you speak to them and communicate, you don't actually know what that looks like or how that's played out. So get the facts, and then you can sit with what's actually going on and work through that in your brain in a logical way, rather than assuming and then spiraling and feeling all sorts of negative feelings towards that. Another way you can do this is actively seek out other people's opinions. So speak to people who might think differently to you. I find that really helpful a lot of the time, because if you have a friend or someone that has a slightly different outlook to life than you, or actions things differently to you, then you can go to them. They are someone who you can speak to and ask, how would you deal with this situation, or how would you feel if you were in a similar situation? And they can give you their opinion, and you can then take that into account. You don't have to actually act on it, but take it into account and actually, again, logically think to yourself, does this make sense? And does this make sense for me? Because they're two different things. Because there's fact, does it make sense logically? And then looking at it subjectively, does it make sense for me as a person? And lastly, being empathetic is really important in this method, because trying to empathize with someone or someone's situation is, I think, one of the best things that you can do. But when your feelings are heightened and your emotions are heightened, it's not as easy to do that. So if you can, try to understand someone's emotions or motives behind something, and it might help you to put yourself in their shoes. Number 2, I call the physical reset protocol. It's got a long name, but it basically means exercise, okay? There are so many different forms of exercise, and it is proven to help how we feel mentally. So this is something I actually hold on to every day. It's in my toolkit every single week. I personally go to the gym, but you can do whatever it is that makes you feel happy. It can even be going for a walk. It doesn't have to be super strenuous, but exercising has been proven to increase our mood, because it releases chemicals like endorphins and serotonin and loads of other different chemicals. And you can look it up if you don't believe me, but it has been scientifically proven to make us happier. Now, that doesn't mean, again, you're going to go from 0 to 100, but it means that if you implement that into your life regularly, it could be every day, it could be every other day, it could be 3 days a week, that is going to help you feel better in the long term. You don't have to do this in a public space. You can do this at home. It could be yoga. It doesn't have to be strenuous, like I said. It can be anything that helps your mind switch off, because not only is it releasing endorphins, it's also helping you to distract yourself. There is something in distraction from whatever it is you're going through, but I don't believe that that solves the issue. It is exactly that. It's a distraction. So this is also a distraction technique, but don't rely on distraction to solve the problem. So that is a second benefit of exercise, is that it provides a short distraction for you. But also it's really calming, because when you exercise, I mean, we don't all do this in the correct way, but breathing techniques while you're exercising, that also helps us to regulate our stress, because as you're breathing, you're activating your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the opposite to the nervous system that creates your fight or flight. So your sympathetic nervous system is your fight or flight, and your parasympathetic nervous system is what calms down your fight or flight. So if you're breathing, you're instantly kind of calming yourself down. It lowers your heart rate, it lowers your blood pressure, and this makes you feel calm. So All of those three things are a great benefit of exercise, and I think exercise is great anyway. It helps you move, your muscles will feel better, they'll thank you for it, so will your joints. So that one is a huge number one for me in my toolkit. I love it, and I think it's the best thing you could probably do for yourself when you're feeling like you're not happy. Tool number 3. This is social connection. Now this can be a little bit tough if you haven't got a support system around you. If you have, then this is a great one to utilize, and if you haven't, maybe try and connect with new people. And again, easier said than done, but there are ways in which you can do that, which I'll go through. There are very much right and wrong ways to seek social support. If you have a support system, ensure that you are surrounding yourself with positive people. You don't want to surround yourself with people who think pessimistically or don't have your best interests at heart. You need people around you that are going to lift you up, and people that are going to be honest with you. I think that's really important. Sometimes we don't want to hear the truth, but sometimes it's really important. I do think there's a right way of saying things, and not everyone has the ability to do that. So if the people that you're surrounded by are honest but not in a very nice way, maybe that's not the right person for you to be around. But it's great to have an emotional support framework within friends and family. I want to emphasize here that a lot of us don't like to ask for help or talk about our problems, even with those closest to us, but it's really important. It's really important to talk about our feelings, because if we bottle them up inside, which a lot of people do, it can lead to a instance where you just blow up. I have seen it happen before. I have someone very close to me that is guilty of acting like that. You know, their feelings are always kind of bottled up, and then when they get to a point that it's too much, they tend to blow up, and other people around them get hurt, and they get hurt as well, because they've hurt their loved ones, and actually what they've said probably wasn't what they would have said originally if they had talked about their feelings. So it's really important to talk about your feelings, and it doesn't make you weak. It actually makes you strong when you talk about your feelings, because it's the harder choice. The easy choice is just to pretend that it's not there, but the difficult choice, and most of the time the right choice, is to talk to people about it. But again, that's why it's so important to choose the people that you confide in, because you want someone that you can trust, someone that's kind, someone that's empathetic, and someone that's honest. So if you have that, then great. Talk to those people. Make sure you do, because they're there for you, and they would tell you that if they're your good friends and family. If you don't have an emotional support system, but you want one, or you want to talk to someone, first of all, I do advocate therapy. I have been through it myself, and I think it's great. One of the tools that I will be talking about today has come from my therapist. Actually, two of the tools that I will be talking about today have come from my therapist getting to know me and helping me, and it was one of the best things that I could have done, because when I hit rock bottom, that person, I will remember him forever and ever. He helped me through a difficult time, and he was one of my biggest social support connections that I could have ever asked for. So they don't have to be your family and friends. Sometimes it can be a therapist. And if you don't want to speak to a therapist, and you don't have friends or family that you feel you can speak to, go out there and make friends. I always think that's such a nice thing to do, and it'll make you feel better about yourself as well. If you're not happy and you start socializing and meeting new people, you might find that helps you, because you surrounded yourself with people that you might have thought you never would have met, and they're really nice, and they can help you and help reframe your mind. You might not even want to talk about the thing that you're going through, but you might find yourself talking to them generally and feeling better, because you have someone new in your life, and someone great that has come out of this terrible thing that's happened to you, and you've expanded your experience in the world and met some great new people. So try putting yourself out there. I know it can be scary, but I think a lot of the time people aren't as scary as we think. It's just how we perceive things to be. So again, try the perspective shifting. If you're in that situation and it's scary, you might find that they feel just the same, and you'll make a new friend out of it. Tool number 4. So this tool comes from my therapist. I actually never used to do this before I went to therapy, and I think it's one of the best things that came out of therapy for me. So this next one is journaling. This is not for everyone. I do understand that this is an acquired taste. I don't always do this, but I tend to lean on journaling when I've had a particularly rough day, or I want to say something but maybe I can't say it out loud, or I feel things that maybe shouldn't be said and they just need to be written down on paper. Journaling is such a powerful tool because when we're overwhelmed, particularly if you're someone that overthinks things, it's very easy to catastrophize things in your head and make them seem a lot worse than they are, because you can talk yourself into things in your brain and you can have a million and one thoughts. But if you write it down, you have all the facts in front of you. There is no way for you to write something down and then see it and believe it if it's not true. Basically, it will help you to understand the facts and separate the facts from assumptions or the non-logical part of the thoughts in your brain. And it will help you to get everything down that you're thinking and just look at it. And then you take a step back and you realise it's not as bad as I thought it was. And I do that every single time I journal. I look at it and I realise, wow, it's really not as bad as I thought that it was. And it makes me feel better instantly. Also, if you don't have someone to talk to, it helps you to have a safe space to write all your emotions down without feeling like it's going to go anywhere. And again, if you have a lot of emotions and thoughts spilling through your brain, getting them all down just makes you feel like, oh, okay, it's all out, I can just breathe, I can take a breath. It doesn't seem as large as it did in my brain. And you can also challenge your feelings when they're written down because you can see them, and it helps to be able to cope with the feelings that you have. I feel journaling can also help you identify any patterns that you are feeling or any triggers that you are feeling if you don't quite understand whatever it is that you're going through. Then writing it down will help you reflect on things. You can kind of flick through the pages after a week or a month and realize, okay, that's why this happened, or that's why I'm feeling this, or okay, every Wednesday I noticed after I met up with this person I felt this, and that's probably why. There's a cause and an effect there. This next one is a manifestation technique. So this is called the 17-second manifestation method. I use this when I don't have access to something to write on, or if I want to instantly lift my mood. This is for me, a short-term and long-term method. So this helps me feel good instantly. So the 17-second method is a form of visualization in 17 seconds, quite literally. What you're doing when you practice this method is focusing on a specific outcome or goal that you have in mind, and you visualize it. You sit there and you play it through in your head. And the way to do this is to get the idea in your head of what you want, not how you want to get there, just what it is that you want. So let's just say you want a dog. I know it's very random. You're then going to visualize and actually feel how you feel in that moment. So let's just say you're visualizing and feeling the moment that you bring your dog home. So you're visualizing you're opening your door, so you are visualizing your exact door, you're feeling your hand on the handle as you open the door and you're walking through, you're feeling the tug of your new dog tugging on the lead, having all these things in your hand, and there's so much stuff, and you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed but at the same time super excited, and the dog's sniffing everywhere because there's a new environment and it's really excited to get into wherever it is that it's going. You know, literally detailed visualization and feeling the feelings that you would feel in that moment. For 17 seconds, you're going to dedicate your entire brain power to visualizing and feeling that moment. Put an alarm on, put a timer on, and focus for that entire time on that goal, on that outcome that you want. The idea of this method is within law of attraction and manifestation. So obviously, if you believe this, then this is something that will work for you. If you don't believe in it, maybe it's something that you can explore, and if not, then obviously this one might not work for you. Be the person you want to become is the saying, I believe. That is basically what this is, but you're just visualizing it, you're feeling it, and once you have that feeling, you then put that out to the rest of the day that you're doing, and the rest of the actions will follow suit. So you'll then feel like, oh, I want to go and do that research now into getting that dog. Oh, I want to go and do whatever it is that will help me save the money, because that felt so good and I really want to get to that point. The idea behind law of attraction is that your thoughts create your reality. There is a lot more behind that, and there's so much depth that I could go into that I won't. So that is method number 5. The last method, method number 6, I call micro joy practices. Again, a very random name, but this was one that, again, my therapist recommended to me. So this is the second one that he recommended to me that works for me. And a lot of you probably do this already. So the idea behind this is self-care. So when you go through crisis, a lot of the time, something that makes you feel like you're doing self-care will help you, because you're looking after yourself. You're nurturing yourself. And when you think about your favorite things to do within the self-care realm, you do these things because they bring you joy. Being able to implement that when you're going through a difficult time will bring you these micro pockets of joy. There are so many different things that could be your version of self-care, but I'll give you some examples of mine just in case you don't have any or you want some ideas, and hopefully you can implement them into your routine to help you feel a little bit better. And it doesn't have to be a regular thing that every day you do exactly the same thing. You can do different things and you can do them when you want, and that's the beauty of this one. So some things that I like to do in my kind of self-care routine, I like lighting a candle because it makes me feel calm. It makes the room feel warm and cozy. I like to go for baths because they're really warm again and cozy. It just evokes that kind of sense of cozy comfort to me. I like to read a book because I feel like I can really focus my mind on it, and I feel like I'm escaping because I'm in this world. I read fiction books, so that's why I feel like I can escape in their world. Journaling is also a form of self-care for me, but there can be so many different forms of self-care. Going for a walk, doing a face mask, doing your nails, whatever it is that may be your version of self-care. Those are some of mine, and if you haven't got any, maybe just kind of Google self-care habits or self-care routine, and you could find yourself a little routine or just a few bits here and there that you could do if you don't already have any, and just figure out what makes you feel good, what makes you feel happy in those little moments that you can practice daily. And it doesn't have to be long. You could go for a bath for 15 minutes, or you could go for a walk for 20 minutes, and that makes you feel good. And then you feel like each day will get a little bit better if you implement these things bit by bit. What I recommend doing is writing down all of the different items of self-care that you would like to practice, because when you're having a really bad day, it's not in the forefront of your brain. So you can have this list to look back on. You might be thinking to yourself, oh my God, I don't know what I could do today just to make myself feel better. There's nothing, because when you're having a cloudy day, it's really hard to see through the clouds. So make it that much easier for your tomorrow self or your future self, and have a list that you can look at and go, okay, I can't think straight right now, but I've got this list and it says that reading is one of my things that makes me feel good. I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna go lie down, put a candle on and read for a little bit, because that's gonna make me feel good. I know it will. No matter what, that will make me feel even 1% better. And 1% better is better than where you are right in that moment. So those are 6 different tools that you can use on different days, in different moments, to make yourself feel slightly better. And like I said, even slightly better is better than nothing. No improvement, because those little steps that you take every day will add up, and on day 1 you'll be at 0, but on day 50 you'll be 50 times better than you were at day 1. In order to use these tools, you can use one at a time or you can combine them. So you can use the micro joy practices and the social connection. So you might say, do you know what, I really like going for a walk, but actually I feel like I need some company today, so I'm going to call up my friend and see if they want to go on a walk with me, because I'd like to walk and talk. So you don't have to just do one. You can combine different tools together and make it unique to you. You know, write all these down and then see if you can kind of connect the dots and see, maybe I can do this with this and make myself feel infinitely better rather than just 1% better today. Create a plan. So like I was saying with the micro joy list, write things down, because when you're in it, it is really hard to see through the clouds. I know I already used that metaphor. Is it metaphor? Analogy. I know I already used that analogy, but it's spot on, to be honest, because it's so hard to see through. Let's just go with fog as a different one. It's hard to see through the fog when you're in the fog. So if you create a plan now and write all these different things down, how you can respond when you're overwhelmed, then when you're in it, you can just go bang, bang, this. I'm gonna do this today. I'm gonna blah, 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 blah. Make that plan, have it ready to action. And when you feel like that, you can just use that list. Another way you can integrate it would be to create a routine. So you can create a morning routine, an evening routine, and it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're a 9 to 5, whether you work shifts. Make sure that it's just once you finish whatever it is that you're doing, or before you start whatever it is that you're doing, and implement it like it's a habit, like brushing your teeth. So get up, brush your teeth, do whatever habits that you have now, whatever that may be that you do now, implement it just before or just after that. For me, for example, I have implemented journaling and then brushing my teeth and then going to bed. So I make sure that it's a routine that I keep up, so that I know that I have to do it, and I know that even when I don't want to do it, it will make me feel good afterwards, and I do end up doing it, and it does always make me feel better, inevitably. So incorporate it into a routine, and that's another way to integrate it into your life. With this and with life, I also want to emphasize that perfection isn't key here. Consistency is key. We're not looking for any sort of perfection in any of these realms or in anything that you're doing in life. For example, if you're doing the 17-second manifestation method and you can only concentrate for 5, that's okay. Start with 5 and increase it. Every time you do it, set an extra second timer, and maybe you can only do 5 seconds for 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but one day you'll be able to do 6 seconds. And 6 seconds is an improvement from 5 seconds. Don't ever put yourself down for doing only a second more, or only a second, or only this much more. Because an improvement is an improvement. It's a win, no matter what it is. It is a win. So we're striving for progress and not perfection, and the key to that is consistency. So you keep doing it, you will get better. I can guarantee you, if you keep doing it, it will come to you, it will get better, I promise. And I am 99% certain that there will be at least one thing here that will help you. One method in here will help you get to where you need to be. And these are all methods that you can go off on your own and explore and research, because they do all help in different ways, and obviously for different people some will work better than others. But I just want to close this video by saying life will always have moments that feel overwhelming. That is not something that we can control. But what I have discovered is that these tools don't just help you survive these moments, they transform how you experience it entirely. And I want you to remember that happiness isn't about life without challenges. It's about having the right tools to be able to navigate those challenges with strength and clarity. Try one technique that maybe resonated with you today and see how that feels. The next time that life feels like it's crushing you, I want you to remember that you are more resilient than you feel, and now you have practical tools that actually work. I would love to hear what technique resonated with you most and what you try first in the comments below. And if this video helped you, then share it with someone who you feel might need it most in your life right now, or just might benefit from one of the techniques. Until next time, remember that happiness is always within reach, even on your hardest days. If you liked this type of video, then do let me know. I would love to create more videos that help you feel better in yourself and feel more empowered. And do subscribe, because it does help me to understand what you like, what you don't like. And if you enjoyed this video, then do give it a thumbs up. Please take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next video.